I start my day with love. Wanna start my day with love. That's what I get more of, is love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. I start my day with love. Wanna start my day with love. That's what I get more of, is love. I start my day with love. Wanna start my day with love. That's what I get more of, is love. I choose love, love, love. Love, love, love. I choose it, love, love, love. Love, love, love. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. I choose peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. I feel it, peace, peace, peace. I choose peace, peace, peace. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. I choose joy, joy, joy. I feel it, joy, joy, joy. Every day it's joy, joy, joy. I'm choosing joy, joy, joy. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release.
Woohoo! Oh, I just love that song because it helps me to set the intention about how I want to do my day. I want to start it with love, and I want to invite peace, and I want to experience joy. So welcome, everyone. How are you? My faithful crew that came out on this stormy, rainy day. thank you so much. It's wonderful to be with you. It truly is. And guess what? You know, after you fill your cup and you are feeling refreshed and renewed, you go home to enjoy the blessings of this day. So thank you for being with us. And if you are visiting for the first time, thank you for being with us. We appreciate you coming. We are so grateful for the opportunity that we can open these doors and offer the love and the genuine love that we give here. Unity as Citrus is a positive path for spiritual living that is centered in God. And in here, our mission is to create a loving, healing, caring, accepting community where everyone feels loved and everyone feels welcome, no matter where you're coming from. So thank you. That's our mission. And we carry that mission when we leave this place, because that is the mission field out there. So we continue to create ripples of that everywhere that we go. So we have a wonderful service planned for you. I have a few announcements at the end of the service that I will share with you. So I would really like us to just get settled and begin our day right here, right now. So get comfortable right where you are. Oh, let me just do this before we go into prayer. First, greet your neighbor. Welcome them. Namaste to everybody. Namaste. And then when you are ready, turn around and greet our Facebook and YouTube family. Hello, Facebook and YouTube family. We love and appreciate your faithfulness to us. And we'll ask you to share our services as we continue to go forward. We are totally, live streaming every Sunday. So if you're not able to make it for any reason, please do so and watch it online, and feel free to do that. So now that we've greeted each other, we're connected in our hearts, let us take a moment to go within and take a deep breath. Listen to that sound of the rain, nourishing our beloved earth, every single plant. The cycle of life continues. For as the earth replenishes itself, it helps us to replenish ourselves with nutrition. So thank you. Thank you for the amazing rain that is falling. We connect our hearts now. Allow them to become open and receptive. Our mind to become open and receptive. We know God is right where we are. The all-encompassing presence of love that holds us and holds everything on this planet and in the universe. We can safely say, God is and I am. This benevolent love that follows us and it expresses through us. And we become the very face of God. And in this time when we are together, we extend the love and the gratitude that we feel in our heart out into this place and beyond these walls. May this love be transformative. May it touch many lives. We know that we are here today by divine appointment. There's something for us this morning, and this is why we have come together. And so we start this day with love, set the intention to be the presence of love. We start this day inviting peace into our lives. And we start this day radiating the joy of knowing that we are a child of God and that the allness of God is right where we are at every time, at every point of our lives. So filled with this love and this peace and this joy and gratitude, we come together in a state of oneness, grateful for the truth that lives in our heart. Grateful for the knowing that when we leave this place, we would have received what is ours to receive. That will be that which will help us to continue on this journey of unfolding more and more the love that we are. So thank you, living presence, thank you, God. We are ever so grateful for the awareness that we receive and for the ability to walk in that truth. And so it is. Namaste. And so before we go, let us do our affirmation of oneness. There is one power and one presence in the universe and in my life. God the good, all powerful, all knowing, everywhere present, right here, right now, God.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning here. And I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. 'Cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Oh, we do have a mic. Okay. I think we're going to need Noah's Ark to get home today. I invite you to find a comfortable position. Gently close your eyes and place one hand on your heart and the other on your lap. Take a few deep breaths. Relax. Settle into your body and into this moment. Now imagine yourself in a place that is completely safe. It could be real or imaginary. A calm, sunlit beach, your favorite chair, or a garden bench surrounded by flowers. This place welcomes you. It welcomes you with great love and takes joy in your presence. You have been going through a difficult time and feel overwhelmed by it all. Anxiety and fear, they've been your companions. There are decisions you have to make that are causing you a great deal of distress. Sitting there, you feel a presence. You look up, startled, to see a figure standing nearby. The figure is not very clear, but you feel compassion emanating from it. So you settle back, relaxed and unafraid. You feel safe in its presence. But you wonder, who can this be? In the quiet of your mind, you say, is this Jesus? My guardian angel? Who can this be? You hear, I am Uriel, the angel of wisdom. And with those words, you see the angel clearly in your mind's eye. That angel is very distinct there. And you begin to enjoy the company of this loving being. You know, deep inside of you, it is here to help. And suddenly comes the thought, wisdom is one of God's 12 gifts to us. How had I forgotten that? How had I forgotten to call on that? And with those thoughts, you find yourself telling the angel all your problems, what you have been going through, about the anxiety that is overwhelming you, and the decisions to be made, and fear of making the wrong decision, resulting in a very negative outcome for you. You find yourself asking him to help you handle these emotions, to release them to God, letting them all go. Taking a deep breath, you relax, knowing there is nothing special for you to do now, except enjoy this time with the angel of wisdom. You feel compassion flowing all over you, enfolding you, embracing you. You feel a soft touch on your shoulder, gentle, light. You feel safe and you feel calm. In your mind, you hear, you have the courage. You have the wisdom. You have the strength to face your difficulties. You are not alone. And you hear him say again, there is an infinite power within you that protects you. God the good, the all-powerful. Hearing those words, allow yourself now to sit in the quiet and listen as the angel of wisdom may have something to tell you that is just what you need to hear right now in your life. Now take another deep breath. And when you are ready, slowly open your eyes and return to this place of calmness and blessings. Namaste.
I just love rainy days. I do. There is a different energy in a rainy day. It's calming and soothing. It puts you in a place of contemplation, and oh, I just love it. So walk in wisdom. You ever heard that story where there were these leaders that got together? They were religious leaders, and they were coming together to pray for World Day of Prayer. And in the midst of their gathering, an angel appears before them and says to the leader that is facilitating the meeting, he says to them, you know, you've been so faithful. I'm going to grant you anything that you want. Would you like to have infinite wealth or beauty or wisdom? And the leader pauses for a moment and he says, wisdom. And with that, the angel decreed it, and in a puff of smoke, the angel disappeared. And so now the leader who received this wisdom is sitting there very quietly. And all the other leaders say to him, one of the leaders are standing next to him, he said, say something, say something. And he says, I should have asked for money. Well, the truth is that, that particular leader really did not understand the unsurpassed value of wisdom. Wisdom has no measure. As a matter of fact, in most religious traditions, wisdom is like a pearl of great worth. In the book of Proverbs, it says, blessed is the man who finds wisdom, the man who gains understanding, for he is more profitable than silver and yields better returns than gold. So clearly, wisdom is something that we want to cultivate in our lives. And oftentimes we don't understand, what is it really? And how do we acquire it? And where do we find it? Where do we find it? And Charles Fillmore, who is the co-founder of our Unity movement, he said that he defined it that wisdom is really the voice of God. A still small voice that we hear, that sometimes we even feel, So it's a still small voice within. That's where we find it, within our consciousness, our spiritual consciousness. It is the source of our understanding. And with wisdom, it includes things like doing right judgment, or having discernment, or having that intuitive feeling. That little, sometimes we call it the gut feeling. A little intuitive feeling, that is the voice within you, the sacred voice within you. That is the wisdom that is in you. And this month, if you notice these banners around the room, these banners are really representative of the spiritual attributes that we have. As a child of God, we have been given the power of will and understanding and imagination and wisdom. Wisdom. And the color is yellow because it's sort of, wisdom kind of illuminates, it kind of makes it clear in our mind what we're seeing, and it helps us to judge rightly. And that's so important in this day and age when we're living in the information age. Isn't it amazing that with just a tap of a finger, you can probably pretty much find whatever information you want to find? Isn't that true? That boggles my mind that with a tap of a finger I could do that. I remember when I was younger, we had the encyclopedia. Remember that? The big encyclopedia. I couldn't wait because it was the source of knowledge, But anyway, now all we had to do is ask a question and tap it with a finger, tap the return button, and there it is. We are so much more informed and more educated than we have ever been in the history of the world. And yet there is something missing. Something is missing. Something that Google can't answer and the universities cannot teach. And that something is wisdom. Wisdom. Because without wisdom, we're like, I would say, like fools in this pool of ignorance that holds on to the illusion that we are separate, that God is out there and we're here, that we are separate, each one of us. And it holds on to the illusion that causes us so much fear because we can't trust, we can't embrace, we can't hold. So even with all this knowledge, we need wisdom. Wisdom is the balance. And wisdom is not something that is really dependent on the intellect. It doesn't need this outside knowledge. It's the voice of God. It's the voice within us that doesn't use any words at all. I heard a little lecture earlier this week and said God doesn't have a mouth. So we want to listen. God is spirit, so we want to listen. We have to be still and listen so that we can know God. So if we listen to this inner voice within us that we can hear and the guidance that we can feel, we will walk in the direction of love. And when we don't listen, when we choose to ignore it, we walk in the direction of fear. See, when we're walking in the direction of love, God is love. And if we are created in the image and likeness of God, then we are love, and we are called to walk in the path of love, guided by our wisdom. So when we're guided by this wisdom, we can see so much clearly through the eyes of spirit. And we're able to judge rightly, knowing the truth that wherever we are, God is. And that we are the beloved one, created in God's image. And that we are one. That we are one. And so where something affects one, it in a very mysterious way, it affects the web of life. Because it affects the entire consciousness. So when we quiet the mind, when we find time to quiet the mind, and we listen to that still small voice within, and we open our hearts, then wisdom flows in and begins to guide us. It is that attribute, that power within us that we all have. We've been all given that. It is the one that I think Jesus probably really valued. I mean, I'm sure he valued all of them, but he prized wisdom. Sometimes we call that wisdom the spiritual discernment, that we can listen to. He allowed, Jesus really walked in wisdom. He allowed the wisdom to guide his choices, the words that he would use, the teachings that he would give. Wisdom was always behind it all, was always connected to the power within that was the wisdom in him. And he taught and modeled the importance of judging by the standards of the higher self, by the standards that does not speak of separation, by the standards that make us realize who we are and God is in us. That's how he wanted us to judge the world. And he did not react to people or situations with the expected response that often comes from our egoic nature. He didn't respond that way. He always responded with deep compassion and deep love and deep understanding. And he acted and spoke from the light that was within him. That little light that is in all of us. That when we were little, remember we used to sing, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine." So that little light that is within us grows with wisdom. The power, wisdom, the wiser we become, the more that light shines. The more we listen. And it enables us to see through different lenses. The lens of spirit. We see through the eyes of truth. And everything that Jesus answered, when he answered other people, the answer came from divine insight. I can just imagine that when Jesus was asked things, that he would pause. Not quick to respond, but would pause, connect with that inner wisdom, and remind himself that he and everyone else was a child of God, loved and beloved by the Creator. And then he would answer from that place. He grew in wisdom according to his conscious acquaintance with the source of his being, that he called Abba, the Father. And he desired to express that wisdom in all of his affairs. And he grew in wisdom. He had knowledge. He was a rabbi. He was a learned person, but didn't rely on knowledge alone. His greatest guidance came from the wisdom within. And here in Unity, we say that Jesus is our way shower. He's our way shower. And so we strive to be imitators of Jesus, to really not just hear the teachings, but to put them into practice. And so we can also develop spiritually our divine potential as a child of God, so that we too can see and judge rightly from a consciousness that is filled and not with thoughts of separation, but with thoughts of oneness, with truth. We can cultivate a consciousness that can become acquainted with the source that we know, God. And when we walk with that, we know we've gone to the place where Jesus was when he said, Abba, Father. That tenderness, that sweet relationship with Spirit. Then we also can have open hearts and open minds and be willing to let go and trust the wisdom that is within us. My new motto is let go and get in the flow. And I really mean that, because there are so many things that happen in our lives that will cause us to stop believing. Get in the flow. Let it go. Get in the flow. Or things are working all together for our good, even when we cannot understand it. I think about when we do that, then we can accept that good is everywhere present. God, the good, is everywhere present. And then you could say, it is well with my soul. No matter what's happening out here, I know there is something much greater, much more powerful than anything that is happening out there. And I could trust it. When Jesus had a significant event happen in his life in the Garden of Gethsemane, he went off to pray. And before he went off, he asked 3 of his disciples to join him. It was Peter, and it was John, and it was James. Peter represents faith, and John represents love, and James represents wisdom. And whenever Jesus had to do any major choices or decisions, whenever he was facing a life crisis, he would take these 3 disciples with him: faith, love, and wisdom. Because the disciples in the Bible represent these things. And so in like matter, when we are faced with having to make tough choices, when life becomes a little bit turbulent and things are coming in crisis mode, then we are asked to go within and listen to that still small voice, so that we may discern the truth in spite of what's going on out here. And then we can make a right judgment, know that all is well with our soul, and that every experience that is happening in our life is really something to help us evolve, to become more Christ-like, to let that little light shine even greater. And so then we can make those, once we connect within, when we can quiet the noise around us, and we tap into that higher self where we can tap into our wisdom and listen, then we can find the peace that we spoke of earlier, we sang before. We can find the love and the peace and the joy no matter what. And the wisdom within us will lead us and tell us and show us what is next for us to do or not do. Faith, love, and wisdom work together so beautifully under the guidance of the higher self, that consciousness that is filled with the truth, spiritual truth. And when it's working from that consciousness, it really will direct our thoughts and our words and our actions. And then the highest good begins to unfold in our lives. Because, our thinking and our feeling nature create the experience of our reality. But we are not our thoughts. And when we let our thoughts run unruly, that we're really not listening to the wisdom of our heart. Every day, my friends, every day you and I, we sit in the busy courtroom of our mind. Can you imagine that we're listening to all these thoughts all the time? They don't stop. They don't. And we are making choices based on what we are thinking, based on our beliefs, based on our judgments, based on our perceptions, based on the opinions of others. And how often do we discount the wisdom that lives in our heart? How often do we really stop and say, let me pause and connect what the Spirit wants to say to me about this? How often do we let the outside world overshadow the guidance that is waiting for us and the truth that lives in us to shine on the situation? We're quick to try to solve things. We're quick to try to fix it. We're even quick to try to ignore it. And we don't touch that wisdom within. We're all influenced by life happenings. I mean, that's what this is. You know what? We've come to earth. This is the school of life. And you're going to have a lot of experiences where you will need to grow through. And on the other side of those experiences, sometimes you realize, wow, I'm really quite strong. I can sustain that. Oh, wow, I have, this guiding force within me that's leading me. And I do have the imagination. I do have the will. I do have all those powers within me to move forward. And that experience helped you to realize that. So no experience is bad. Nothing is against you. Everything is here to help conspire on your behalf to help you become that which you were intended to be. The very light of the world. The peace and the love and joy, the face of God. So we're influenced by all this life that's happening for us, and it's okay to check in every once in a while and say, well, where do I fit in all of this mess that's going on around me? And that's not a problem. We have to consider what's going on around us. But the problem arises when we forget that we have that inner guidance, that we can turn to it and we can trust it, and we can know that it will steer us in the right direction. And it will also align us with who we really are. Because we're not this body. We're not, and we're not our thoughts. What we are has been created in the image and likeness of God. It is spirit. It is pure. It is good. It is magnificent. It is lovely. It is powerful. Amen. And so, wisdom brings us back to that understanding and aligns us with what we are. The problem grows into a giant monster when we turn our back away from the wise inner voice, when we choose not to listen to it and go with the ego. We know all of the answers. I'll take care of that. So the good news is that, if you get there, if you find yourself, well, I haven't checked in. I didn't do my check-in. I went ahead and did my own thing. You can always come back. You can always check in, because wisdom is always there. That still small voice is always there. That guidance is always there. The light that will show you the truth. And then you could go back to seeing rightly and judging rightly from the truth that you know. And somehow your perception of what you were seeing expands, and you see it as it really is, beyond the illusion of separation and fear. So in this world where we have so many choices, and in the midst of all the voices that want to get into our head, we can choose. We can choose to be still and know God. Know, become acquainted with the source of our being and recognize it. Recognize that voice within that is always there. It will always be your faithful friend. It will never leave. And sometimes we can't figure out, this happens, I'm sure. We can't figure out, well, which voice am I listening to? Is it the ego? Or is it my wisdom voice? Which one is it? And so, for me, I know that it takes practice to recognize the inner voice. It really does. But I know that in my own experience, the voice feels right. It just feels right. It is calming and non-judgmental. And she, but they call her she because wisdom is Sophia, is that part of us that is like the feminine nature, intuitive nature. She will remind you that all is well. And to look around for evidence to prove that. To look around for evidence because God is everywhere present. She will remind you she will drop actually some gentle hints here and there. You feel it, you hear it. How many of you have know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. That you kind of know that this is that inner voice. It is that inner intuitive feeling that is powerful and yet very humble at the same time. And when we listen, we become like it. We become powerful and yet humble at the same time. Because we've let go of all the illusions that we have taught and trusted in the truth that is within us. You ever walked or been in the presence of someone who is humble, truly humble? That their presence alone is powerful. They don't have to do anything. So she is the intuitive feeling, powerful and yet humble. But she's often overshadowed by the booming voice of the ego. She understands, though, that the ego has its place in our spiritual journey. It has its place. So she waits. She will never leave. She's always there within us, that voice. Even if you have these long stretches when you're on your own, and you decided, well, I'm my own person. I make my own decisions. I govern my own life. You been there? Yeah. She'll wait. She'll gently wait. Let you go on your own little journey. And then when you return, it embraces you. It dusts you off and offers you, again, its wisdom and guidance. That wisdom and guidance that you have so tirelessly searched from outside of yourself. It's not out there. Knowledge is, but not wisdom. Wisdom, you have to go within. You have to tap into that. Like all the divine attributes, like all of them, wisdom is always there. It is part of your innate nature. So I'm going to offer you 3 practices today that may help you, that you can use if you need a little extra help in connecting and hearing that inner voice. And just 3. And if they resonate with you with where you are in your journey, then I invite you to try them. If you forget, you could listen to this message again and you could find them. And one of them is, stop justifying. Release the need to justify in trying to explain or justify the inner wisdom that is within you that has spoken to you. Because when we justify whatever what we've heard within our spirit, we know it. We send the message that we really don't trust what we're being guided towards, and that we need some external validation to hear that it's okay, that you're on the right track. It's almost like it's saying to the inner voice of wisdom that you have within me, I hear you, I get it, I hear it. But wait a minute, let me pause a minute, because I have to go off and check with my friends. See if they're okay with what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm hearing. Your inner voice will never misguide you, ever, ever, ever. But we want validation. We want to justify. We want to make sure. And I know I've done it myself. When I heard the inner voice that told me to become a minister here, I went and I asked 1 million people, what do you think? Hey, I'm feeling this urge, but I don't know, what do you think? It's not really, honestly, our inner wisdom will never, ever misguide us. It is pure light and love. It is the divine essence within all of us who are on this journey. And we are empowering, more empowering and valuable to the world when we honor that voice of spirit and expresses light and love into the world. So we need to remove this need to have to justify what we're being asked to do, or where we're being asked to go, or where we're being asked to release. Trust your inner wisdom. Trust it. And the second thing is, be an observer. Be an observer. Notice your words. Notice what you're thinking. What are you feeling? What are the reactions in your body? To know thyself is the first step towards wisdom. Know thyself. So be the observer. What's happening to you in the situations that are happening in your life? Are you holding your breath? What is the tone of the words that you are sharing? What is it that you're feeling? And start to really listen to that recording in your mind, to what you're really saying and the actions that you're taking. And see if they really are telling you things that align with the truth that you know. Is it your ego shining through, or is it the truth that you know, that spiritual truth? When we practice to listen to ourselves, it becomes easier to detect that voice that is of spirit and to make a distinction between that voice that is the ego. Being focused on deep, intentional breathing sometimes brings us there. Just breathing, quieting the mind, opening the heart, being in a place of contemplation so that you can hear the still small voice within that sacred space inside of you. And when you notice that when you're clear, when you're in that place, you say, I'm kind of clear, I hear it, I know it, I've tapped into it, I feel it. Then there's no need to talk or need to be noticed or need to be heard. Somehow there is a space that opens up within you. This is an amazing space. You don't need to go tell anybody about what you're feeling or hearing or noticing. Just being with it. And then when you're in there, you can do the practice of taking the people that are around you, the people that are in your life, bring them into this vast space within you that just opened up. And see if you could see them through the eyes of love. Because if you do, then you are now walking in the wisdom of truth. You see them through the eyes of love. When we become these observers in our lives, we can choose to allow life to move through us. Because in this realm, everything changes. There'll come a time when it will change. This pandemic situation we're already seeing is changing. It will never stay the same. Nothing in your life will. It will change. And so you can allow the wisdom within you to let you know that it's okay. This too shall pass. Life is passing through me. And I'm learning the lessons that I need to learn so that I become a better Christ presence in this world. So that my light can shine even ever so brightly. So that I can truly be the face of God. And be a conduit of love that this world so very much needs. And all of a sudden, when you're in line with, you're walking with wisdom, and there's this vastness within you, and you know the truth, the stories and the hurts that once occupied the spaces in your heart and in your mind become almost welcoming spaces, because you want to know more. You want to have a greater acquaintance with the source of your being. And it's so beautiful when we cultivate that, to want to know more and be in alignment with Spirit. And the third one is, believe what you know is true. Believe that. It's been revealed to you by Spirit, not by me, not by anyone else. That inner voice within you will confirm it, and it will resonate with you. Believe it. If your inner voice is pleading you to make a move and you still haven't budged, you haven't done it, here's the opening to trust that. Trust that voice. Try it. Even though you don't see the way forward totally clearly, step into it. Allow it. I get what it's like to turn back on yourself and not trust yourself. But the wisdom within you knows best. Trust yourself. You're more than equipped to do anything that is placed in your life. More than equipped. I did. I led long stretches of my own life believing that in my own self or believing that I wasn't enough. What a lie. What a lie. And it hindered me. And so, trust that inner voice. Trust the truth that you know. And you could do that through continued practice. Keep coming back to it. Be mindful of what you're thinking. So listen to your inner voice. It's easier sometimes to trust the ego than to trust what's within, because we always come up with all short. We keep saying, I'm not enough, or I'm not good enough, or I can't do it, or whatever, all the shoulds and shouldn'ts that we come up with. You are more than capable, more than enough. And you could take baby steps when you're trying to learn to listen to the voice of Spirit within you, that wisdom within you. You don't have to jump in all at once. Warm up to the idea that you are truly magnificent, that you are truly powerful, that you are truly the face of God, that where you are, God is. Take that in and allow that to settle in your heart. Know that all the guidance that you will ever need and hope for lives within you. In the book of Proverbs, it says, I have taught you the ways of wisdom. I have led you in the path of uprightness. And when you walk, your steps, you will not be hampered. And you will run and you will not stumble. Keep hold of my instruction. Do not let go of wisdom. Guard her. She is your life. So trust your divine wisdom. It will not fail you. Always invite it invite it in. Invite yourself to listen to it. Do not allow yourself to solely be guided by the knowledge that you hear around here. Sometimes we don't even know if it's even true. Okay? We get bombarded with so much stuff that we can't even tell if it's true or not. But that inner voice is always telling you the truth. It's always guiding you in the right way. So I leave you today with this beautiful Native American Lakota prayer. And may this prayer become the prayer of your heart as well. As you begin to trust the wisdom within you, tapping into it more and more. A prayer says, great mystery, teach me how to trust my heart, my intuition, my inner knowing, the sense of my body, the blessings of my spirit. Teach me to trust these things so that I may enter my sacred space and love beyond fear, and thus walk in wisdom and balance with the passing of each glorious sun. Namaste.
Thank you, John. It's that time in our service now to give of our gifts, our tithes, and our love offerings. Your faithful support makes it possible for Unity to do the work it has been called to do. We thank you for your gifts and for your love and support. So let us take our gifts in our hands and affirm our offering blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I send forth this gift with my blessings and my love. Thank you, God, and amen. Thank you for being with us today. We hope you have been uplifted by today's message, feeling God's love wherever you are. When you leave here today, take it with you and feel it inside. We wish everyone a joy-filled day, and obviously one that is filled with rain. But rain brings beautiful flowers and growth. So will you affirm the prayer of protection with me, please? The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Namaste, everyone. And now Reverend Luz would like to have a few words with you.
So I have thank you, Mary. I have a few announcements I just want to share with you. Let me just make sure that, because they're kind of lengthy today. So today, when you leave, we're going to open up the space so that you can leave right down the middle, the corridor. We've been always kind of going out through the sides now. I'm just going to ask you to, be mindful of distancing so that we can still honor that. But we're doing that because our bookstore is open. And so you're welcome to enter the bookstore. We're still having some guidelines in there, about 5 people at a time. The bookstore from now on will be open before service and after service. And I also wanted to say that, let me make sure I got everyone that I need here. We are like a family, right? Remember when we did that whole series about seeing no strangers, and we said we know how to love each other when we have wonder about each other, when we grieve with one another. And so I have learned last night that Arvid's brother has transitioned. And so we want to be able to really be there with Arvid, sending him a card shower. So when you leave, there's a slip of paper there with his address, and if you would just shower him with your love by sending a card. We want to let him know that he is a valuable part of our community here. And then don't forget Junebug. Actually, June Elliott. We lovingly call her Junebug. But June is now at rehab. And I tell you, I'm sure she would really appreciate receiving a card from you, a thinking of you card. And then the last announcement is I'm going to be out of the office for this coming week and the following week. I'm finally going to go see my children. I haven't seen them. So it's been a long 10 months, and I'm so happy that I have this opportunity to do that. So you will have a guest speaker next week, Hank Lewis. He's a wonderful, wonderful speaker. I'm so grateful that he's willing to step in. So tell your friends coming out, come and meet him and enjoy the wonderful message. You will all be in my heart, held tenderly in love. I'll be thinking about you, and I will look forward to coming back and being with you again. So I'm going to walk down the middle corridor, and this time, instead of meeting you out there with the pouring rain, I will meet you back there in the lobby. Thank you for being with us today, and many blessings.
What would I do if I knew that I could not fail? If I believed, would the wind always fill up my sail? How far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero